Sooner Nation, get ready, buckle up. Early signing day is a couple weeks away, which means the 2023 recruiting season it's almost over. And today we are going to look at a couple of 2024 targets that are still on the board for the Oklahoma Sooners, like Dominick McKinley, EPL, and hey, give you guys an update on a 2025 recruit. But before we do that, guys, thank you for tuning into the PG Show, where we talk about all things college football. Do me a favor, hit that like and hit that subscribe button, as well as jump in the comments and join the discussion. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Let's dialogue here. I want to hear, do you think the Oklahoma Sooners can land Dominick McKinley? So Dominick McKinley, a target that Oklahoma fans have been watching for a while, and the Todd Bates haters, they're going to tell you, Oklahoma, they ain't landing Dominick McKinley. So what do we know about Dominick McKinley? And I'm going to pull up some film here. So for those of you who haven't seen Dominick McKinley, you can see what he's all about. September 1st, he committed to Texas A&M University over Oklahoma and Texas. And depending on who you talk to, Oklahoma was second or they were the third team behind Texas. November 12th, he reaffirms his commitment on X, saying, "I'm behind at Coach Elijah Robinson, 100% not going anywhere. Hashtag Gig'em." On November 25th, Dom retweets a tweet from the Aggies today with a picture of E-Rob saying, "My coach." Fast forward to where we are right now, December 8th, and Elijah Robinson is now the defensive coordinator at Syracuse. And from all indications and the hearsay on the recruiting trail, Oklahoma's starting to ramp up their pursuit of Dominick McKinley before early signing day. The question is, will he be back on campus Saturday at Texas A&M? And you would imagine on another OV visiting Sean Spencer and Mike Elko, is that going to be enough for Texas A&M to keep Dominick McKinley? Now, Oklahoma ramping up their pursuit here. Here's what that means. If you read between the tea leaves, you look at what's going on and who's recruiting him, you've kind of seen it publicly. Oklahoma 2024 commits, they're going after Dominick McKinley. From the OU side, you've seen Nigel Smith, Danny Okoye, David Stone, Jaden Jackson, and even Marcus James all getting in. Marcus James being a 2025 guy, by the way. They're all getting in on the action of tweeting out the picture of the power line saying Dominick McKinley needs to come be a part of this. And so you look at what Dom is liking on Twitter. You see a lot of LSU content, some from Texas and Oklahoma. And that would lead you to believe that maybe the kid's looking at something other than the Aggies, especially now that Elijah Robinson is no longer there. Now, I'll say this. If you look at Elijah Robinson not being there and you see him taking another visit this weekend, which I believe is unofficial because since Jimbo got fired or his position coach left that recruited him, I believe he gets another official visit. But he's going to be getting to spend some time with Sean Spencer and Mike Elko. And I think this week's going to be a very telling sign of whether Dominick McKinley is going to end up decommitting and flipping somewhere else. And I'm looking at the facts. When OU's recruiting him, he loved Todd Bates. He loved the Solds mission. His mom was sold on Oklahoma. So right now, I like Oklahoma in this race. If Dom were to flip and decommit somewhere, I think he flips before early signing day, on or before early signing day. And I think he flips to Oklahoma if he ends up flipping. So the question is, where does McKinley get you in the recruiting rankings? McKinley's going to jump you up to 29 commits at a 283.43 composite score, with Dom being a 5-star, your second highest rated player at number 27th nationally. It's going to skyrocket Oklahoma up to number 4 in the recruiting rankings above Alabama, who is at 281.23. So all good news for Oklahoma there. And listen, if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're really hoping that the Sooners are going to be able to land Dominick McKinley. Okay, got to move into the next one. Eddie Pierre-Louis. Not a lot going on here. Nothing really new outside of Gus and UCF, that crew. They were taking a in-home visit today as I'm recording this Friday, December 8th with EPL. And you would imagine if they don't hit the baseball out of the park and bring in the 3 base runners and the hitter, Oklahoma is going to have closed the deal on EPL, right? You heard how well that in-home visit with Bill Bedenbaugh went. It seemed like OU closed the door there. So I feel like it's going to take a miracle for UCF to get the commitment of EPL here. However, nothing's out of the equation at this point in recruiting because we've just seen wild things happen. But I'm sticking with my prediction for EPL to be a Sooner. I'm just that confident in it. And barring some late run from Oregon or Miami, which, listen, we've got to put that disclaimer in there because if I don't put that disclaimer in there, y'all going to get mad if EPL ends up flipping somewhere else. So, but no, I still predict EPL is going to be a Sooner. So adding EPL and Dom to your class would give you 30 commits and give you a composite score of 284.47. So that's without potentially losing anybody else. And, if you only look at losing anybody, you look at losing KJ Daniels. I think that's been the name that's thrown around. A lot of people have pointed to and said, yeah, does he stick in this class from the day he committed? So last but not least, I want to look at a guy by the name of Brayden Platt, the linebacker out of Yelm, Washington, 6'2", 240 pounds. If you guys have heard me over the past couple of weeks, you guys have heard me talk about this. Brayden Platt reached out to Brent Venables and this staff, kind of just hitting them up, seeing what's good. So you look at the class here in 2024, not a lot of targets left for Oklahoma. Nwaneri, I think, is out of the question. I don't think you're flipping Wesco at this point. It seems like Clemson's done a good job to keep that one in their favor. Terry Bussey, that's still a question mark, and nothing really new there, so that's why I'm not really talking about Terry Bussey. But Brayden Platt is a name that if you see him flipping to Oklahoma on early signing day, do not be shocked. Brayden Platt is the number 176th ranked player in the 247 composite. Actually, 247 has him as their number 50th overall player. But Tosh Lupoy and those guys up there at Oregon, they do a very good job at recruiting. But as you can see here through the film, Brayden Platt is a guy that, listen, if BV can get him in this class, he's going to take him. And with the potential loss now of Danny Stutzman, I think the idea now to take 2 linebackers in this class is now a possibility. Now, there's not a lot left, and you're not flipping Sammy Brown, and I don't think you're flipping Peyton Pierce. So Brayden Platt's probably your next best option, and this is a race that Oklahoma came in number 2 at against Oregon. So I feel like Oklahoma's odds would be good here if Brayden Platt decided to decommit. I believe Oklahoma's odds would be, hey, they're the front runners. They're going to win this recruitment. So that's something a little interesting that I think a lot of you guys will probably want to keep your eyes on there. And then last but not least, I told you guys there was a 2025 recruit. And a lot of you guys might have seen Deuce Edwards drop his top 5 on X, right? And so I got a chance to follow up with him last night. And if you guys watched my transfer portal video, you guys have probably already heard this, but I want to go ahead and put it out there for the people that haven't heard it. I said, hey, just saw OU using your top 5. Really haven't heard much about you. What's going on? He said, hey, OU's most definitely a hat on the table. #boomer. So we talked about the relationship a little bit. And he said, yeah, I've been Oklahoma twice. Coach Valai, he's my guy. Love it there. Listen, everybody kind of says that about Coach Valai. And then I said, hey, well, give me an insight to why you narrowed down to these 5 schools. And he says, hey, I narrowed down to these 5 schools because they all give me the same feeling, great coaches, great schools, great communities. And I can see myself playing at each of these Power 5 schools. And, he goes into a little bit more about it. But in reality, I think this one's probably going to be a Clemson win, just from kind of the hunch I'm getting, right? You don't really see Louisville or Virginia Tech winning highly rated guys like this early. So normally the only 2 schools in this mix that you would see doing that, well, I guess 3 schools would be Tennessee, Clemson, or Oklahoma. And hey, you know what? Clemson, they make moves. I like that pick right there for Deuce Edwards. But he has not made up his mind yet from what he told me. So maybe Oklahoma could still be the pick there. And if anything changes on that front, I will let you all know. But right now, I'm going to stick with Oregon. So I need to hear from y'all. So make sure you're joining the discussion, jumping down in the comments below. Let me know, do you think Dominick McKinley is going to end up flipping from the University of Texas A&M going to Oklahoma? Additionally, if you have not already, go ahead and hit that like and hit that subscribe button.